I understand. Yeah, it depends, and sometimes it doesn't look really cool. It doesn't look.
Yeah. There's too much of that stuff. So
Okay.
I'm trying to sort of like save myself from every. I don't think. I mean, for instance, this every time we had an album out from the 69 Nights, I've been answering. Like I counted like probably honestly like 100 email interviews. Like last, it's not like I throw out. It's in real it's 16 and I said 100. It's really been 100. So now I just thought that at this age I'm fucking 54. It doesn't give me anything if I don't answer endlessly all nights to somebody's email questions like what's the funniest situation at the show, what's the weirdest place you ever played. Like I apologize, but I think it's more important for me to do something else at this time. It doesn't bring me anything. I'm curious and I want to communicate with the world, but I think there's other ways after doing that like a couple of decades to do that.
I absolutely understand, and I know the problem sometimes is you do an email interview, for example. I could send you the questions, and you answer, and 3 of your answers find space in the magazine. The rest you don't even have space because you just have one.
Rather speak with the people or meet them, and of course, and on the other hand, I'm not sure if I'm not need to promote myself or our band that much, because if you haven't heard about us this far, it's rare that your or anybody's question and my answer would be that interesting that will bring something new in the picture. It's a music. The music is always the answer for any question.
Yeah, but
on
also,
the other hand.
Also I think the fans you have, they are interested in what you think, what
course,
brought you to write something and stuff like that.
So I hope everybody can answer, and I'm here to make new friends and hang out with people. So.
That's nice. So we hang out and just talk and drink a beer. You don't drink before show, I think.
No, I don't drink at all actually.
Oh really?
Yeah.
No alcohol?
No, actually that was that's the COVID got me like understanding that I partied enough. It was like just like we were on tour. We played in the middle of Russia, and then COVID news started to come up, and we were probably one of the last bands still on tour. So we played like the whole world was locked down. We still played one show, and we skipped one meet and greet from that night. So we thought that maybe it's like unhealthy to meet as the other news come out from the world at the moment. And then we flew back home, and straight from the tour, we played the last show, and that was the last flight ever to go those days to Finland, really, and from the east. And then COVID has been there everywhere else already 2 days, and COVID got us so much new time to think about things and hopefully see more clearly the world around you. So for me it was like I realized that okay, I need something else than just the usual, which had been around like 40 years.
So it was just like like a sabbatical, maybe, the COVID time for you?
It's inspirational, and it was a well-deserved break from everything. But I think now, as we are doing this tour, we came to see how the world is after COVID, and looks like it's pretty much coming back to normal. And I started occasionally I've been jumping to the audience to sing the last song, which is in our set, Lost Voice. So I've been there sometimes when there's a good vibe. I jump to the audience to sing along, sort of like exorcist the COVID away. Even half a year ago when bands were touring, it was like they were like hiding, being in their own bubble. I think it's time to break free.
So would you say people at this tour really are as before COVID, or are there things that have changed?
The world has changed. Like, it was very stable 5 years ago. Now we are living in a very unstable world, but we are actually used to that surprisingly quickly as well. Uh, Music, rock and roll itself the same, audience is the same, but does people have that much time, or are they still enthusiastic of coming to see the bands? That's not certain, because we're still in the this is still the beginning of after pandemic. So at this moment, like I heard that half a year ago there weren't too many bands or artists touring, like everybody who have been waiting there, and now it's getting more settled, but the economics of the world has changed, which affects on and this is so boring stuff, but costs of everything. So I think it takes a little time again to get over this crump.
Yeah, sure. And regarding, for example, now we have a war in Eastern Europe, we have many other things that come onto the people. I think it's cool that they even go to concerts, that they even say, okay, we want to do party, we want to see six
Yeah,
members,
I understood that. I myself understood the reason. At least that's how I feel, that there's a certain importance that we are here, and I have a certain role to be here as a singer of our band, to bring and comfort people in our way at this moment, after this new unstable world, and after these 4 years ago we were here last time. So, and that's a long time, to be honest. It doesn't feel, I don't feel that it was a long time. It feels like it was not that long ago. But for instance, a member of our band has his children at ground school in 9th grade, and now the children have graduated during these 4 years and moved away from home. So in that way, it's a very long time all of a sudden. Daddy, like these kids, our musicians, kids were on a 9th grade, and Daddy was on the rock and roll tour. Now Daddy goes back to rock and roll tour, and the kids are graduated and moved away from home, and they don't, probably even care that much.
Yeah.
So it's a long time in young lives.
Yeah, it is. I think that was even more complicated, the pandemic, for us as adults. Okay, have 2 years, 3 years, we have to stay home. It's okay. Being, for example, I thought about being 16.
Yes.
15, 16. It would have been hell to
Well,
me.
it's a perfect time to come to see the 69 Eyes.
Yeah.
when you're, no matter what age you are.
Sure. Did you face many younger people on the tour?
Well, always have, depends on the venue what kind of age limit is there, but actually we have a very young audience always in the front row, and that still goes on, and that's typical for our kind of band, I assume, because you can dress up, you can sense something else in our show. There's a different kind of vibe when our kind of a rock band comes to town.
Yeah, sure. So, and the tour started a few weeks ago. Your new album will come in April.
Yes.
This is one reason we have to talk about, because the article I will write will be about the album. The title is Death of Darkness. So is it kind of inspired by the pandemic? Maybe the darkness has died after the pandemic?
I had the title for the album before. I had the idea okay, this should be the title of the album. I just like the expression of Death of Darkness. Then of course the pandemic, of course, it's something that we have to look forward. So this title is, of course, can be related to that. It can be related to relationships, everything. It's just it's just time to go forward for new life. But especially right now, as it comes out, it's a perfect title for a record. But I mean also as we are touring and the whole album is out, yet it doesn't sort of matter, because we have been releasing singles already a year from the album. So expect that the people know those bunch of songs that we're gonna play tonight from the album already because they have been released. So it's even we are playing before the release of the album, it doesn't matter in that sense. But I also actually now during this tour I realized that, oh, hold on, I mean, why should people come to see us? Because we basically don't have anything like new to offer, like an album kind of thing. During this tour I've realized that maybe since we don't have like the album to offer, maybe the people have, some of people don't come to see us at this moment, but that's how that, I'm not sure, but I mean it doesn't in my point of view I don't think like that people will forget that the album comes after this tour at least. But on the other hand, it's kind of weird that all of a sudden after 4 years we just come to tour and we don't have the new record, but we have released those singles, so I think that's enough.
Yeah, I think so. And another good thing of this is I talked to Justin from New Model Army. I think you know. Doesn't play songs before release because it was his fear that music could be put around the globus before it even was released. So
okay, well we have released those singles and we played them, so we don't play anything unreleased on these shows.
And we just don't do this whole what is this song about, what is this song about. I think this is really boring, at least if you do every song. But in general, what is the quintessence of the album? What are the things that inspired you that people should?
Well, it's just about? Like we released the the main inspiration for the album was just to try to write songs that get played on the radio in Finland where our music is played. So we wrote the first couple of songs, and one of them was the first single from the album called Drive, and that really got great response from fans and also Finnish radio stations, and they are still playing it. And after seeing that response, because you get that so fast these days, so we kept on writing, and we just wanted to write the best possible 69 music, and since we had a chance to release songs like we released all these singles and then on EP, we get instant response like what does people think of it, and like how the world responds to that. So there's no core message, at least I think so, on the songs. They're just, you know, always it's a usual 69 shit what's going on in my head. There's some movie songs, something from my personal life, something that I just I experienced how our songs are written, that I get a ready well recorded demo without vocals, and then I hear something on it. So sometimes in this album I heard there that this song could be titled like the album title. So I had the album title Death of Darkness, and I thought this is a fantastic album title. Then comes a song and I'm like, what if I sing the title of the album to this song, and it fit. So that's just okay, here's the title track, and then comes another demo and I'm like, oh, this sounds like California to me, where I hadn't been for like 3 years because of COVID time, and then I just wrote the lyrics to it mentioning California, which is kind of tasteless even, but then it just fit there, and it's a song about like a serial killers and LA and darkness of California in general. But if you feel it's sunny song, that's fine too.
Okay, a sunny song about California from a Finnish guy. That's
well,
cool,
do you know?
cool
Yeah, and I think about how I miss that. So it's that place is always been very inspiring in many levels. But it just, and why I just return to that subject is like I'm fascinated for the fact that I can write music of that location or inspired by that location, and when we go to play there, and I know there's a lot of fans who like that stuff, and I managed to. So there's just so many bands there, but somehow I, from very on the other side of the globe, managed to write songs that they like over there. Like, even though I write about like their own neighborhoods or something like that. So I think that's interesting. I like that. It's kind of like it's tempting to sometimes always go back to those. And there's so many movies. I mean, for this record, I tried to write the song. We did a demo called "Live to Die and Live in L.A." according to the movie. 80s movie, but it didn't manage to the album, and I've been trying to write a song about that movie because I really love the title, "To Live and Die in LA," like so many years. There's once again that's about the fourth song with that title, but still it didn't manage to end up to the album. So now you know what song title will be in the future records for sure. I don't know when, but I'm trying, because I just love the title. Then the movie is of course great.
Yeah, sure. I will wait for this song.
Yeah.
Especially because of this interview.
If I had it on my mobile phone, I could play it to you, but I don't have it at the moment. But it was cool. But somebody said it like maybe next time. So okay.
Yeah. I hope you write some more albums in the future.
Yeah, of course. But I guess by releasing now the singles, that was more satisfying in a way that you get the feedback immediately. So it feels like everybody who's making music that people are listening more are releasing only singles in this world. So it sounds and feels very old-fashioned to spend like a year writing secretly bunch of songs and then handling them to people, because now you're not sure if they even have time to check them out, like or will they even know that the bunch of songs came out. If you release one song there, probably some of your followers will catch up either of them. But if you release an album which has like 10 tracks, who will listen to the tracks from 6 to 10? You know, who has time? Because we already have numerous albums released by our band, and I don't want to mention how many albums, because that's horrible to tell how many albums we have done. That's the worst pickup line ever. If I go to a bar and there's a girl and I tell like, hey, I'm a singer in a band, we have released this and this many albums. So
yeah, but that's interesting because we live in an age of streaming, of Instagram and Spotify, for example, and stuff like this. And I've seen some report on the German TV where producers who were for writing songs, they say it's just the first 30 seconds.
No, it's 15 seconds. Actually, it's 3 seconds.
Yeah.
I think now it was 15 a little while ago.
Yeah, to catch the people and to get money out of it.
Yeah.
So it's, the reception of music really has changed.
Yeah, it really has changed. But on the other hand, like the 69 Eyes fan base is based on the old school people. So we have fans who wait for the album and want to hear new songs from us. But if we want to get new listeners or more new generation to the front row here, we need to play with the same rules that everybody else is doing. So I think that's part of that where part of that is releasing once in a while like singles. Also during this tour, which we have never done before, we've been very active in social media. We have a photographer traveling with us, so we're releasing photos of each show by our own photographer in social media, and then I personally have been going to the sites of the current towns we'll be visiting, and then we're putting out the series of photos whether I am seeing the town we're playing or the whole band even, and we're putting out a lot of social media just because it's actually fun, and we have a special photographer with us, and that will be interesting to see, like that sets different standards for touring. I've read the comments, people are surprised to see the whole band in the center of town that they are visiting, and the people are wondering, oh, that that oh you're together all the time or this they're surprised that the whole band is in the pictures around the towns and going to see sightseeing and stuff like that, and that's something which we really of course like, but now it's you can see it the social media, so it just it also gives us a schedule instead of like looking at the like social media or whatever media from your mobile device. It sets us a schedule to do also something else as the show. So it's interesting to see like how will it affect? Will you see like Anthrax in the near future going to the local sightseeings or whatever band is touring?
And I think it's
Death Angel.
you have bands like in the past it was always like you did many musicians didn't even know where they are because they have been on the bus,
Yeah,
into the
exactly,
venue,
exactly.
play the concert, back, and
we
now
done
you
that.
discover the world.
Yeah, we done that, and or somebody was too tired of partying, or somebody wasn't even in the same town because that person was still in the continuous parties in some other town. I've done that, but now let's try this. It's pretty cool. It's really interesting. Nobody said to us like do this. We just do it because it's honestly fun. I think after this interview, actually, I think I will go change a little bit, and we're gonna have like a band photos before the show.
Yeah, sure. So I just don't want to hold you up from that. I think
cool.
you have to prepare. Or
yeah, well, let's have some couple of questions then.
Okay. Not too much because I don't have to, but I would want to ask Thorsten from the other as well.
Yeah, sure.
He's an old friend of mine.
Yeah, of course. He mentioned you.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah, let's talk about this. The other, did you meet them before?
Oh, well, Thorsten is a friend for decades for the 69 Eyes, and he's Fiendforce Records, like more than 15 years ago, was like a revolutionary, really cool thing to happen. If the term horror punk, I would honestly think that Thorsten has something to do with coming up that title, and since that horror punk is a common term in the world, which is like something combining the Misfits and psychobilly and punk rock, maybe glam rock together, and he came up with that, and that was like really exciting and inspiring back in, I think we met first time like 2005 or something, and we were fans of his stuff, and he was releasing with his Fiendforce Records amazing music like classic albums in my books, and I heard today that the Fiendforce Records is back, and he's been doing this so long, so actually I hope this tour will help him to define his status as a German rock star.
Should be. I think they're underrated, really.
Yeah,
they're fans.
Germany has your own rock stars, and Thorsten Wilms is one of them, and
yeah, but it's often like this. I think you are a star somehow in Finland, but often it's like the prophet in its own land. This phenomenon where bands get successful or artists get successful.
I have some ideas that I'm going to discuss with Thorsten, because he has to become the star in Germany, because he has earned it and he's worked his ass off all these decades.
Yeah, that's really. Okay, cool. I think he will be happy to hear that.
Yes.
Listen to the interview, and he will, I know.
Yeah.
Let's come to another star. We have a woman at the album, Cat Von D.
Yes.
Just short words. How did this come up?
We've known Cat Von D for, once again, like since the mid 2000s, and because of she had the TV show LA Inc., and she was friends with Jackass guys, Bam Margera, and she was also a fan of him. So she's been a lot in Finland to see the shows, and that's how we originally met. And we did some music together some 10 years ago, one song collaboration, but it sort of like didn't get all the attention back then that it should. I've seen that song we did, it was called Rosary Blue, and Kat Von D's on featured vocals. I've seen it on YouTube that there's a picture of Ville Valo and her saying that this is a song with him and Kat Von D. So it didn't get that much attention or wrong kind of interpretation. So now as we had this song, this Murder Takes Two, our bass player came up with the idea that it needs female vocals after we have recorded it already. And then I was thinking like immediately that it should be Kat, like we should do this properly. And I just texted her like, would you be interested on being on the 69 Eyes album? And he literally, even though the time difference, she literally texted like you see the three dots happening, and hell yeah came immediately. So that's how it was done. And we shot the video for it, and that video and that song comes out as a single also at the same time as the rest of the album.
Oh, brilliant. It's one of my favorites, I have to say. It's really, really nice.
Thank you. It's a different kinds of music, but the 69 Eyes can do any kinds of music, and this was just a dark Americana or country-ish kind of like stuff.
And one other song I want to talk about, just because it's my absolute favorite, is Dying in the Night.
Oh, thank you.
The title.
Thank you.
And it's for example, you sing a little different some parts, I think, a little more clean vocals. Not
yeah,
so
maybe it's it's just my speaking voice properly in a way.
You should do this some even more, I think.
Cool.
I love your singing voice, but this is
it's just like it's kind of like 80s. It's very 80s vibe there, and it's just I
had a Bowie vibe.
Yeah, Bowie and a lot of other 80s, that kind of music vibe there, and it just that song has been around for a while as well, so we just thought that it's time to put on the record. And the thing about like this, since we're an 80s band, so obviously when we do music like unintentionally, sometimes we might come up with the 80s sounding ideas, but this time around we wanted particularly it to sound like this, but we had also a young producer who's not from the 80s, so his vision of the 80s sounds are fresh, so it doesn't sound like dated or like in that way old school. It was done by the young person who imagined how the 80s sounded. So that makes it fresh, because before that we've been doing records with these a little bit older guys than we are, if it's possible, and they have been making music in the 80s. So of course, if you talk about keyboards, there's 50s keyboards, that's Jerry Lee Lewis. There's 60s keyboards, that's the Animals or the Doors. There's 70s keyboards, that's probably like a progressive rock bands like Yes or Genesis. And then there's 80s keyboards. I don't think there's 90s or 2000s or 2010s or 20s keyboards. It ends up to the 80s keyboards. So 80s keyboards, we all know how it sounds, but 80s keyboards are at this moment everywhere in pop music. If you listen to Weekend, the whole record is 80s keyboards.
Yeah.
That's last his 3 records at least. So every new dance or any that kind of music is full of 80s keyboards. So anyway, so now having 80s keyboards there in our song, and they were made by a younger guy who really wasn't there, so it sounds more fresh and contemporary.
Yeah, that's really. I had an interview a week ago or 1.5 weeks ago with a band. They are too young for the 80s, but they have an whole album with 80s keyboards and stuff like this. And I asked them about what's the fascination of this, and they told it like this: that you have an imagination. If you're younger, you have an imagination of things.
Yeah.
That's really good. But just let's come to an end.
Yes.
Because
Okay.
you have to prepare.
Yeah, I have a few things to do. Sure.
But one question I have to ask this.
Sure.
And I read this because I've written it in a really cool manner.
Yeah.
The World Happiness Report 2023 says that Finnish people are the happiest in the world. What are your thoughts about that?
That's always put out as a headline in Finland, because like all our news are about misery and miserableness, and also like how everything is going to hell in Finland, and then somebody comes up with this headline like, oh, among, like, every day you read like everything's going down to hell, people are miserable, people are with they have their mental problems, and everything is wrong. And then once in a while this kind of headline comes up, and it's put out as a headline in Finland, like, hey, by the way, even all this shit what is going on, we are the happiest nation in the world. So that has something to do with that's I would like to be a little more, I would like to see the source and use source critique of that. But in general, like, coming to myself, I think we might be, it's also you have to be media critic, because media rises up the stuff. Media rises up the mental problems of people. Media tends to feed, at least in Finland, us with the negative headlines. And that's true, like negative news inspire, like, that they are more like they are more wanted. People are more interested in negative news than positive news. So in this world full of negativity and negative headlines, and media is brainwashing us with the negative news, that is welcome news. But I hope that every nation will change their name to there, and once a while publish that out without crashing us or crashing people in their countries, especially media, under the negative headlines. I think every country needs that headline for themselves a couple of times a year, because we are living in the world where media controls us and our minds and actions so much.
Sure.
And this is media, what people we are doing, but so I'm controlling people who are reading and listening to this as well.
I hope I'm a little bit independent media.
Yeah, but think about it, like what is ruling the world is media and the headlines.
That's sure. So
And
this will be
they will, so that pushes us to certain directions. So sometimes there should be like some sparks to different directions, make singer jumping to the audience once in a while.
Sometimes, yeah. Yeah, cool. So thank you. That was a really cool interview.
Thank you, sir. And thank you, Frank.